Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to each and every one of you. I hope you guys are doing well. Now, before we start, let me ask you something. So, have you guys ever wondered how the things that we eat affect our body? Now, that is what we're going to find out. So, I hope you guys stay with me until the end because me, together with my co-reporters, have some interesting facts to share. So, let's get started. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to discuss fats or lipids. So, pardon me if magsikog glance sa kilid because ang akong PPT is na siya here and dili ako mag-slide. So, then, let's get started. So, what are fats? Now, fats, they are one type of lipid that the body uses for energy, insulation, and protection. So, here, ang fats is ginagamit nato siya as an energy source sa ato ang body. So, sa itong carbohydrates, we all know naman, di ba, from the previous reporters that carbohydrates are the main source of energy. So, ang fats, they can act as the secondary source of energy since fats constitute 34% of the energy in the human body. So, unsa pud ang lipid? So, a lipid is any various organic compounds that are insoluble in water. So, we all know what insoluble means naman, di ba? So, here's a lipid, various organic compounds that are insoluble in water. For example, we have fats, oils, waxes, phospholipids. So, muna siya itong mga compounds or substances that are greasy to touch and do not mix with water. So, muna siya, dira na ito ma-distinguish ang fats and lipids. So, ang lipids is muna siya ang various organic compounds that are composed of katong mga greasy compounds. And, ang fats naman is a type of lipid. So, ano na siya? Understandable naman, di ba? So, let's go back sa fat. So, fat is most of the fat that we eat and the fat stored in our body exist as triglycerides. So, triglycerides, unsa man siya? So, di ba, when we intake food, which consists of fats, dili man tanan dayon kay ma-convert dayon siya into energy, di ba? So, we have some stored fats in our body that we will be using or that will be converted into energy sa ato ang body later on, and that is what we call as triglycerides, which will be further discussed or mas ma-in-depth na siya later on. Now, fats, they provide a more concentrated source of energy compared to carbohydrates. So nga no, di ba? Main source man ang carbohydrates. So nga no, mas nag-provide siya more concentrated source. This is because ang carbohydrates, 1 gram of carbohydrates is nag-consist siya og 4 calories. And ang fats naman, 1 gram sa fats, kaya nag-consist siya og 9 calories. That's why makonsider siya as more concentrated source. Since mas dagan siya, double ang ihang calories compared sa carbohydrates. Okay, so understandable naman so far, di ba? Now we have here naman structural fats. So, structural fats, these are fat deposits that are not used and hold the body organs and nerves in position and protect them. If not fats that are used for energy, napod tay fats that are used for insulation and protection. Mani siya tong mga fats nga naga-cover sa ato ang organs sa body. For example, sa heart, sa mga muscles, naana siya mga fats, mga nga siya mga fats, para makaprovide siya o extra layer of protection. So, let's move on to the next one. Now, we have 3 classifications of fats. We have simple lipids, compound lipids, and derived lipids. Now, let's talk about first the simple lipids. Now, they are also called as neutral fats and are the simplest type of lipids. Simple lipids. Now, they mainly consist of triglycerides and waxes and serve as important sources of energy, insulation, and protection in our body. So, we have here the triglycerides. So, as what I have said earlier, ang triglycerides is not all the food that we intake which consists of fats, kay ma-convert dayon siya into energy. So, we have those stored fats which will be later on used as energy, and that is what we call as triglycerides. Now, this is made of one glycerol molecule and 3 fatty acids. So guys, going back to our biochemistry, do you guys still remember the bad fat and the good fat, which is also called as unsaturated and saturated fatty acid? So, familiar pa ba siya sa tua? Now, asa dira ang good fat and bad fat? So, ang unsaturated, mo na siya itong good fat. And then, ang ato ang saturated is mo na siya to ang bad fat. So, guys, it doesn't mean na bad fat ang saturated, kadili na mo na siya kaunon ha. Saturated fats is kailangan gapon siya sa ato ang body. But, kailangan in moderation, of course. So, guys, kaya na ako ni siya ingon sa inyo ha. It's important that you guys know that too much and not enough is bad for our body. So we have to stay in between lang. We have to take everything in moderation para dili siya mag-lead into complications. So going back, muna siya ang triglycerides, mga stored fats in our body which will be later on used as energy. Next is waxes. Now, waxes are the simple lipids made of fatty acids and long-chain alcohol instead of glycerol. So, ang waxes naman is nag-serve siya as protective layer and waterproofing. Ang best example ani is mga earwax. So, are you guys familiar with earwax? So, muna siya itong mga tutuli sa ato ang ears, katong mga yellow good na ginatanggal na to using cotton buds or katong gamay nga kutsara good ana mo siya dalunggan para matanggal siya. So dili lang siya hugaw dito, actually naa siya purpose para dili dayon dali masudlan og mga bacteria or unsa na microorganisms ang ato ang inner ear or mga sa atong eardrums good, dili siya dali masudlan og mga microorganisms dira nagaserve as protective layer tong earwax nato dito para murag siya sa ang first na mo kapal ba nang mo harang siya ang mag-absorb ato nga mga hugaw, siya ang magharang ato nga mga hugaw para dili dayon siya madiretso dito sa sulod. Also dili lang tong earwax, actually we also have those vellus hair katong murag mga peach fuzz nga buhok din sa napon siya actually sa to ang nose para dili dayon masudlan og mga hugaw na ay mag-act as a barricade something. So, mo na siya ang purpose sa waxes. Napo siya sa mga plants ka ng mga coating sa plants. Mo na siya ang purpose sa waxes. And also, waxes are classified into sterile and non-sterile esters. So, unsa na sterile? So, sterile esters. Ang sterile esters is composed of sterol, which consists of cholesterol. And then, nag-help ni siya sa ato ang body as well para makatransport of fats. And then, ang kalahian nila sa non-sterile esters is ang non-sterile esters is wala siya cholesterol. And then, ang function ng sa non-sterile esters is as same lang sila actually. Ang function sa non-sterile is to provide protection ng pod and waterproofing na diri ang mga beeswax and such. So, that's it for the simple lipids. Let's move on to the next one. Second one. Now we have here compound lipids. Now these are fats combined with other substances such as phosphate, carbohydrates, and proteins. So, ang fats, ang compound lipids, they play an important role in cell membrane, nerve function, and transporting fats in our body. So we have three types of compound lipids. We have phospholipids, glycolipids, and lipoprotein. Now, let's talk about phospholipids first. Next one is phospholipids. Now, what are phospholipids? Now, they are lipids made of fatty acid, glycerol, phosphate, and a nitrogen-containing group. Now, they are the main components of cell membranes and they help transport fats in our body. Now, we have three phospholipids. We have lecithins, cephalins, and sphingomyelins. Okay, guys? Take note of those three, okay? Lecithins, cephalins, and sphingomyelins. So, let's talk about lecithins first. So, ang lecithins, they help mix fats with water. Siya ang nag-act as emulsifier. So, unsa na emulsifier, Ali? So, ang emulsifier, okay, this allows two liquids that do not mix to each other. So, nag-help siya or nag-allow siya nga mag-mix sila. Ginabutang niya siya actually sa egg yolk, sa vegetable oil, sa mga margarines, ingana. And that is the function of lecithins. Nag-help siya mag-mix tong fats and water since we all know naman, di ba, na katong fats, oils they really are greasy and do not mix with water. Bisan saan pa nato na siya ukay-ukay din na adili na sila mag-mix. So, that is why we need the help of lecithins to act as an emulsifier. Now, next is the cephalins. Now, they help with blood clotting. So, nag-help po ni siya, actually, ang cephalins, kay para maka-assist siya sa production sa thromboplastin. So, unsa na thromboplastin? So, mo ni siya ang substance na need nato in as creating normal blood clot. So, guys, important ang blood clot sa ato ang body, ha? Mo ni siya tong scabs sa ato ang kana kung pag masamad ta then hapit na siya maayo kay ato nang ginatanggal ang uban nga kay ginakaon daw nila pero lahapon na so motor siya important ang blood clot sa ato ang body, guys, kay para dili maglala, para dili siya mag-cause into severe bleeding and help siya to regulate the blood vessels spread. Now, let's move on. Lastly is the sphingomyelins. Now, sphingomyelins protect nerves by forming the myelin sheath. So, myelin sheath. So, familiar ba siya sa inyo, guys? So, going back to our biochemistry again, muna siya itong na-discuss ni Doc Joy sa ato. Itong myelin sheath, muna siya itong coat ni siya. So, mo siya cover nga nag-protect sa nerve fibers. And para magdali po ang pag-transport or pag-travel sa ato ang nerve signals. So, muna siya, sphingomyelins. Let's move on to the next one. The second one for the classification of fats is the glycolipids. Now, what are the glycolipids? Now, they are lipids combined with carbohydrates and are mainly found in cell membranes and nerve tissues where they help with cell communication, protection, and nerve function. So, sa glycolipids, we have two. We have cerebrosides and gangliosides. So, what are those? So, here, ang cerebrosides is these protect the nerves and nag-help siya of transport fats as well. So, ang carbohydrate component diri sa cerebroside is galactose. Now, the other one naman is ang ganglioside. So, nag-help siya nga nag-help siya sa communication of the nerve cells, especially sa ato ang brain, and nag-support siya normally sa brain and nerve function nato. Now, lastly, okay, nahapit na tayo sa last. We have here the lipoproteins. So, what are lipoproteins? Now, these are lipids combined with proteins. Lipoproteins. Now, they are produced mainly in the liver and transport fats, cholesterol, and triglycerides through the bloodstream since fats cannot dissolve in water. So there are sa lipoproteins. Are you guys familiar with the bad cholesterol and the good cholesterol? Also called as HDL and LDL, high density lipoprotein and low density lipoprotein. So ang function naman aning lipoprotein is nag-encapsule siya sa mga fats. May gina-capsulize siya ba? Ang mga fats, proteins, mga ingana, since dili 'di ba sila, dili 'di ba sila ang mga fats man god kay dili sila mag-dissolve sa water. So para to prevent the clumping, kay mag-agi siya with the help of lipoprotein is mag-agi siya sa bloodstream para maka-travel siya, para makahatag siya energy sa mga parts of the body na kailangan ato. So that's it for the lipoprotein. That's it for the compound lipids. Now let's move on to the derived lipids. That sums up my part, and I hope you guys learned a lot. Now for the derived lipids, it will be further explained by my co-reporter, which is Mr. Ian J. Palma. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Another classification of fats, the derived lipids. The derived lipids are the simpler substances produced when fats are broken down during the digestion. They are easier for the body to absorb and use. So, derived lipids can also help provide energy and support in many body functions. These compounds provide ang kaning mga compounds is provide siya og energy sa aton awas so support in many body functions such as building a cell membrane, um, transporting nutrients o makaproduce og hormone. And the first is ang fatty acids. Ang fatty acids are the building blocks of the fats in the body's main source of energy from the lipids. So ang kaning fatty acids is ang source niya po natin siya sa atong energy. So they can also be saturated and unsaturated. They are the main components of the building blocks of triglycerides. Ang triglycerides is ammonia siya ang main form sa atong fats. During the digestion sa atong triglycerides, they are broken down into fatty acids and triglycerides. So later on matakal nga po natin siya. And the fatty acids is divided into three types. We have the saturated fatty acids, monounsaturated fatty acids, and the polyunsaturated fatty acids. So here are the three fatty acids. We have the saturated fatty acid, the monounsaturated fatty acid, and the polyunsaturated fatty acid. So first, we have the saturated fatty acid. So saturated fatty acids have no double bonds and they are usually solid at room temperature and are commonly found in animals' food like egg yolks, dairy products, and poultry. So example ng saturated fatty acids is palmitic acid and stearic acid. And yung palmitic acid, if sobraan ko ng palmitic acid, mag-cause siya LDL. So ang LDL, maka-cause siya increase sa LDL. Mag-increase ang LDL. So ang LDL is ang low density lipoprotein, also called as the bad cholesterol. If ang LDL good ka, pag taas kaayo ang LDL, mag-cause siya nga ang cholesterol mag-build up sa atong artery nga mag-cause sa atong coronary artery disease, the myocardial infarction or heart attack and stroke. So dili nato siya pasadaan nga dili kayo possible labian ang palmitic acid. So next is ang monounsaturated fatty acid. So monounsaturated fatty acid these have one double band and are considered healthier fats because they help support heart health. So example is ang oleic acid. Oleic acid is also considered as a healthy fat and can be found in olive oil and peanut oil. So ang kaning oleic acid is maka-help siya nga decrease ang LDL and by increase ang HDL. Ang HDL is ang high density lipoprotein or ang good cholesterol. Pag taas ang HDL, decrease ang chance na mag-build up ang cholesterol sa atong arteries nga mag-cause of disease. Next is the polyunsaturated fatty acids. So polyunsaturated fatty acids, or poly means many, so it has two or more double bonds and are essential for normal body function. So example lang is ang linoleic acid is essentially siya for omega-6 to help lower the bad cholesterol and can be found in vegetable oils and soybeans and corn. So ang kanyang linoleic acid is essentially sa atong omega-6. So ang omega-6 is help siya sa atong um, heart health, sa atong growth sa immune system. So mag-help ni siya para sa atong health. And if masubrahan po niya siya, delikado po siya masubrahan kay dili pa balance sa omega-3. So balance dapat nila omega-6 at omega-3. Healthy glycerol. So the glycerol is a water-soluble part of the triglycerides. So ang triglycerides mo ni siya ang main form sa atong fats gikan sa food nga atong ginakaon. So during the digestion, it is released and can be converted into glucose, and which the body uses it for energy. So ang kaning glycerol is the form na siya sa sugar backbone sa atong triglycerides, which is composed of 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So during the fat digestion, ang kaning triglycerides na main form sa atong fats is mag-broke down na siya into glycerol and fatty acids. So ang kaning glycerol mamove na siya sa atong liver and can be converted into glucose. And glucose, ma-convert siya into glucose by the liver and can be used when needed for the energy. So ang glycerol maka-help na siya nga mag-store energy sa atong lawas. The next is ang steroid. So ang steroids are lipid compounds that contain sterols. The most common example is ang cholesterol. So ang cholesterol is important for the making hormones, vitamin D, cell membranes, but too much can increase the risk of heart disease. So it is found in the brain, blood, liver, bile, and food like egg yolks, shellfish, butter, and cream. So ang steroid, wala siya nag-contain of fatty acids, but still classified niya po na siya as a lipid because naa siya part na insoluble sa water. Example sa atong steroids sa lipids is ang cholesterol. So ang cholesterol is the main steroid, is the most common steroid sa atong lawas. And essential ni siya para sa atong cell membranes, and serve siya sa precursor for the steroids, for the other steroids. Next is ang steroid hormones. Ang steroid hormones are made up of cholesterol, including ani is aldosterone, the cortisol, the estrogen, progesterone, and lastly the vitamin D. Omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 and omega-6 are essential fatty acids, meaning the body cannot make them, so they must come from the food. So ang omega-3 and omega-6 isa na sila sa polyunsaturated. Example sila sa polyunsaturated fatty acids. So essential gyapon ni sila sa atong lawas. Ang problema lang is atong lawas dili ni sila ma-produce. So kailangan ni sila gikan sa pagkaon, especially sa fats. So first, ang benefit of pagkaon ta na omega-3 nga mga pagkaon is pa-support siya sa atong heart, sa brain health, and while the omega-6 is can help our growth development and heart health. So the good sources of omega-3 includes the salmon, the sardines, and the mackerel. So both omega-3 and omega-6 are essential, diba? So kani sila nga fully unsaturated fatty acids magikan gini siya sa pagkaon kay dili ni siya magikan sa atong lawas. So di pini pasabot is dili makaproduce ang atong lawas. Digestion of fats. The digestion of fats happens in three main stages. First, the mouth. The mouth chewing breaks food into smaller pieces, making the digestion easier. And second, the stomach. A small amount of fat digestions between with an enzyme called the gastric lipase. So, ang kayang gastric lipase, ginaproduce niya sa atong stomach para ma-break down ang fat. Isa niya siya ka-enzyme nga para ma-break down atong fat sa stomach para kaan. Next is ang katulog is ang small intestine. So most fat digestion happens here. The bile from the liver breaks fats into tiny droplets through the process called emulsification. Then pancreatic lipase break the fats into fatty acids and glycerol which are absorbed by the body. So the derived lipids are important because they provide energy support, brain and heart health, and can help produce hormone and allow the body to absorb and use fat efficiently. So that's it for the derived lipids.
So, good morning everyone. Good morning, Miss. My name is Alan G. Pilatiban from Mati Doctors College, PSN 2, Section C. So today, I will discuss my part sa report na to. So now, let's talk about the food source of fats. So, first is visible fats and invisible fats. So, invisible fats, there are fats that we can easily to see or separate from food. So, for example, butter. So, usually, ginabutang ni siya sa tinapay. Then, margarine. And salad oil naman is ginagamit ni siya sa pagprito og egg and fried chicken. For example, nagakaon tag pork belly, di ba dali day na tumakitaan ang taba sa pork belly. So that's an example of visible fats. So these fats are called visible because we can physically see them and madali siyang ma-identify, and we can also control how much we use such using less butter or cooking oil when preparing food. So next is invisible fats. So invisible fats are fats that are naturally present inside food, so we cannot easily see them, like milk, cheese, and eggs, nuts, and last is nuts and meat. So invisible fats, since dili na to makitaan ang fats, but it's part of our daily diet. So that's why important to remember that some healthy foods still contain fats naturally. So even dili na to makitaan ang fats sa nabilong sa invisible fats like milk, cheese, eggs, na siya nasagol nga fats, even dili na to makitaan. So next is type of fatty acid. So first is saturated fats. So saturated fats are usually solid at room temperature. So saturated fats nagaprovide siya energy, but eating too much of them can increase bad cholesterol known as LD cholesterol, high LDL cholesterol. May increase that risk of increase na siya heart disease. So that's why saturated fats should be eaten moderation. Next is polysaturated fats. So polysaturated fats are usually liquid at room temperature. They are considered of the healthier types of fats because they can help improve our heart when they replace saturated fats in our diet. For example, pag magluto atong mama og vegetable using oil, so that's oil are rich in so that's oil is rich and polysaturated fats. So next is essential fatty acids. So essential fatty acids are called essential. Our body cannot produce our body cannot produce on its own. But this means we need to get them from the food that we eat. If we eat foods cooked with soybean oil, we get omega fatty acids. Nut and seeds are also good sources. So that's all. Thank you.
So, my name is Jamaica Maltoborta. Today, for our next topic is the health effects of the lipids. So, first is the heart disease. It's elevated blood cholesterol. It is the major risk factors for the cardiovascular disease. So, heart disease is an umbrella term for conditions that the effects of your heart structures and functions. The most common type is the coronary artery disease, which occurs when the plaque builds up in the arteries, restricting blood flow and potential leading to the heart attacks and heart failure. So there are four types of the heart disease, which is the coronary disease. First is the coronary artery disease. It is the most common type of the heart disease that occurs when the arteries that supplying blood into heart muscles to become narrow or blocked by buildup of the fatty plaque or the arteriosclerosis. So the next is the heart failure. So heart failure does not mean that the heart has stopped working. Rather, it means that the heart muscle is too weak to pump the blood efficiently throughout our body. So next is the heart arrhythmia. So arrhythmias are irregular to fast to slow. The heartbeats caused by uses with the heart electrical system. And lastly, the heart valve disease. These conditions affects one or more of the four valves that keeps flowing into the right direction throughout the heart. So valves may fail to open fully or leak blood backward, which forces the heart to work harder in our body. And for the next is the risk from the separated fats, which is the lauric, myristic, and the palmitic acids raise blood cholesterol levels, while the citric acids does not. So lauric acids, the carbon 12 primary sources is found heavily in coconut oil and palm kernel oil, while the myristic is acid. The 14 carbon primary sources found in dairy milk products like butter, cheese, and the whole milk, animal fats, and the nutmeg. While the palmitic acids, the 16 carbon primary sources is the most common saturated fat in nature, and abundant in palm oil, red meat, and the dairy. So, how they compare to other saturated fats? So, unlike these three, the citric acid, an 18 carbon saturated fat found in a cacao butter and beef fat, does not raise blood cholesterol because the liver rapidly converts into a healthy monounsaturated fat called leulic acid. Oleic acid, rather. Okay, next is the monounsaturated fats or MOFAs are healthy fats that helps lower bad or LDL cholesterol, raise the good or HDL cholesterol, and reduce chronic inflammation. So, incorporating them through plant-based sources like extra virgin olive oil, avocados, and nuts can also proven the insulin sensitivity and support the blood sugar management. So, the next is the benefits from the omega-3 polyunsaturated fats. The omega-3 polyunsaturated fats lower blood cholesterol and prevent heart disease. Episodes like fish eating once a week can lower blood cholesterol and the risk of the heart attack and stroke. So, there are three main types of the omega-3. The ALA or alpha-linoleic acid. This is the plant-based that omega-3 fat found in the seeds, nuts, and the vegetable oils. While the EPA or the eicosapentaenic acid is this a marine-based or omega-3 fat found in a fatty fish, shellfish, and the fish oil. Lastly, the DHA, the docosahexaenic acid. It is the another crucial marine-based structures fat found in the seafoods and algae. Okay, next is the cancer. Fat does not instigate cancer development but can promote it once it arisen. So, like ang adipose tissue sa atong lawas kay nagasilbi siya promoter instead na initiator siya sa cancer. So dili man ni siya ang mismong nagasira sa DNA para mabuhat og cancer ang isa ka normal cell. So instead na ay nahintabo nga mutation o nasira na cell tungod sa ubang causes. Ang taba na sa atong lawas kay nagasilbi siya nagapakaon, nagapapaspas og nagapadako sa cancer nga sakit. So, there are types of the cancer which is the carcinoma, sarcoma, leukemia, and the lymphoma and myeloma, and lastly the central nervous system cancer. So, not all the types of the cancers react to excess body fat in the same way. So according to medical research, the carcinomas, especially the breast, endometrial, colon, and the kidney cancers have a biological link to obesity. So this is because the epithelial organ are highly sensitive to the hormone and chronic inflammations by driving excess of the adipose tissue. Next is the obesity. So, obesity is a complaint chronic disease that characterized by an excessive accumulations of the body fat that present a risk health. So, it is not the characters that flow or a master willpower, but rather it is the medical conditions driven by the mix of genetic, metabolic, and environmental and behavioral factors. So, the body mass index, the BMI is 25 to 29 class 1. That's the overweight, and the obesity BMI of the 30 to 34.9 class 2 of obesity. So, the BMI of the 35 to 39, class 3 or severe for obesity, while the BMI of 40 or higher is the higher of obesity or taas siya. So, how can you calculate your BMI? BMI. So, calculated by dividing the weight and the kilograms of the square of the height meters. So, a BMI from 25 to 29.9 is considered as a overweight, while the 30 or greater is classified as obese. So, next is the daily allowances. So, no specific recommendation for the level of the fat intake has been made by the Food and the Nutrition Boards. So, the requirements for linoleic acid is low and easy to meet. So, for infants, formula linoleic acid should be supplied only 3% for the calories. So, there is the example of the calories or the daily allowances that we need. And lastly, the cholesterol content food. So, dairy cholesterol is found exclusively in animal products like meat, eggs, seafoods, and full fat, while the fruits, veggies or vegetables, and grains contain zero cholesterol. So, as you can see sa picture, makita nato ang mga cholesterol na gina-content sa foods or like daily need sa toong lawas. So, here is the example.
Hello, so this time I am tasked to report about trans fat. Masarap, malutong, creamy, pero pwede pala itong makasama sa ating katawan. Now, have you ever wondered why some of our favorite foods can be unhealthy? This time, let us talk about trans fat. Now, trans fat are part of the fat family, which includes the saturated, polyunsaturated, and the monounsaturated. So, to be exact, there are 4 types of fat that we will be talking this time. Now, saturated fat, firstly, is a type of fat that can be found in foods like butter, fried pork, whole milk, and if eating too much or if it is eaten in excess, it can increase bad cholesterol. And the monounsaturated fat, on the other hand, is different with the saturated fat because it is a healthy fat that can be found in olive oil, avocados, and nuts, and they can help protect our heart. Third fat is the polyunsaturated fat, and just like the monounsaturated fat, it is also healthy and can be found in fish like tuna, salmon, as well as seeds, and they support our brain and our heart. However, trans fats are different with those 3 because they are mostly made in factories and are the most harmful type of fat. Now, before we move on into hydrogenation, I will be adding this information about the cholesterol. Now, we have 2 types of cholesterol. Diba? The saturated fat, the monounsaturated fat, the polyunsaturated fat. The 3 of them has different cholesterol in it. Now, the 2 types of cholesterol are the good and the bad cholesterol. Pero what is cholesterol? Cholesterol is a fat in our blood that our body needs, but too much can be dangerous. That means it is essential in our body or in our blood, especially as it helps nga mas smooth ang flow sa atuang blood. Now, there are 2 types of cholesterol, the good and the bad cholesterol. LDL, or low density lipoprotein, also known as the bad cholesterol, can stick to our blood vessel. It is like a grease in a pipe, and that will block the blood flow, which can lead to heart attack and stroke, which is not good for our body. HDL, on the other hand, or the high density lipoprotein, also known as the good cholesterol, It helps clean the blood by removing extra cholesterol, which means pag may bad, meron ding good. Triglycerides are another type also of fat that come from too much sugar and unhealthy food. Now, those foods that we often eat that we thought were, delicious for us, it can produce triglycerides or the type of fat nga makita nato from junk foods, soft drinks, and cakes that can also harm our heart. Now this time, let's talk about hydrogenation. Hydrogenation: trans fats are formed through partial hydrogenation, where liquid vegetable oil is converted into solid fat by adding hydrogen. Now, trans fats are made through a process called hydrogenation, where liquid turned into solid fat. This is done so food can last longer. Now, it is done so that the food that we have can be stored longer, not spoil easily, and be easier to store and transport. For instance, the vegetable oil that we stored can be turned into margarine or shortening, which is used in baking cakes and pastries. Trans fat can be very helpful when it comes to storing foods na shelf life naman, and shelf life and texture. Trans fats extend the shelf life of foods and enhance taste and texture. They give processed foods a desirable mouthfeel, making them crispy, crunchy, or creamy. Trans fats are used because they make food last longer and taste better, especially for those food that we eat every day. Okay, now for the common sources of trans fat. First, and butter. Trans fats are more harmful than saturated fats like butter. They increase bad cholesterol, lower good cholesterol, and raise triglyceride levels, increasing the risk of heart disease in general. The more solid the fat, the more it can clog arteries. Now, the trans fat are harmful because they increase bad cholesterol and they increase good cholesterol. As I've said earlier, that if ang atuang bad cholesterol mag-increase, mo-decrease ang atuang good cholesterol, and that is the reason why trans fat is harmful for us. It will affect the flow of our blood. Okay, it will affect the flow of our blood, and it will raise triglycerides as well, which is not helpful for the smooth flow of our blood, and it can cause heart problem, for instance, and it will clog the arteries. Now, we are all aware that our blood has so many functions in our body. It flows, it carries the oxygen, the nutrients, that is very helpful, especially in pumping the blood in our heart. And if ang atuang blood dili siya mag-flow smoothly because of those cholesterols or those fats nga naata bad cholesterol that we have, this will be the reason nga nung naay sakit nga makuha like heart disease, stroke, and high blood pressure. Tungod kay wala naman flow smoothly ang atuang blood, ang atong heart mapugos siya og pump fastly. That's why it can increase the risk of the high blood pressure or the hypertension. For example, someone who always eat fried food, junk food, and pastries may develop black arteries, which can cause a heart attack. Now, important note for us to remember that even if a product says trans fat free, it does not always mean it is completely healthy. So let us not trust everything that are seen in our naked eye. Some trans fats also come from natural foods like meat and milk, so we should still eat this in moderation. Moderation means daily excess. Foods high in saturated fats like butter, lard, and whole milk should also be limited because they can still increase bad cholesterol. Remember that too much is not good. So now we know that not all fats are bad, but trans fat are the most harmful. Even if it tastes good, the food that you've eaten, even if it tastes good, we should always think about our health first. Let us choose healthier foods so that we can stay strong and avoid diseases like heart disease and stroke. So that is all the report that I am tasked. Thank you.
Good day to you, Miss. I am Princess Shane Tampuso from 2nd year BSN 2C. And so today I will be discussing how to lower fat intake. So fat is an important nutrient because it gives us energy and helps our body to function properly. However, eating too much unhealthy food can increase the risk of diseases like heart disease and obesity. That's why we need to control our fat intake. We need to learn how to control it. So first, eat fatty foods in moderation, not completely good or avoid them. This means that we do not need to eating fatty foods, though our body still needs some fat to function properly. However, we should only eat small amounts because eating too much unhealthy fat can lead to health problems. Second, include more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains in your diet. So these foods are healthy and rich because they provide vitamins, minerals, and fibers, which help to keep our body healthy and make us feel a longer time. Third, practice portion control. So portion control means eating the right amount of food, like for example, eat one donut instead of several, or a small handful of chips of a whole bag. Develops self-discipline to make healthier food choices. So self-discipline means controlling yourself and choosing healthy foods because it helps your body to healthy eating habits and avoid overeating. Example, you choose to drink water instead of soft drinks, or you choose to eat vegetables or fruits instead of junk foods. Seek advice from your doctors or nutrients if needed. So if you're having a difficulty of eating healthy and managing diet, you can ask naman sa doctor or sa nutritionist so that they can give you the right advice based on the health needs. Effects of trans fat. So this means that unhealthy type of fat that commonly found in processed food like fast food, fried foods, pastries, cookies, and packaged snacks increase the risk of heart disease. So this means that trans fat raises bad cholesterol and lowers good cholesterol, which can dog the arteries and mag-increase ang risk sa heart disease. Instead to diabetes, obesity, and liver problems. If we eat too much trans fat, it can cause weight gain and obesity. So lisod po na makontrol sa atong body ang blood sugar. So too much trans fat may damage the liver because of fat can build up in the liver over time. So that's all. Thank you, Miss.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Chinros Amcaparas, and let's proceed to more about trans fat. So trans fat are unhealthy fats commonly found in baked goods, fried foods, snack foods, and some salad dressings. So trans fat is unhealthy type of fat jud nga kasagaran jud nato makita sa dried foods, sa baked goods like cookies, cakes, and donuts, o kanang mga snacks o kanang mga processed foods. Daghan nga foods ang gihimo gamit ang partially hydrogenated oils. So, what is hydrogenated oils, DI? So, ang hydrogenated oil is a vegetable oil that have been chemical changed by adding hydrogen. So, this process makes oil more solid and helps food last longer. So, ang hydrogenated oil is ga-help siya sa mga food nga para dugay madaot. Mao nang mas taas siya og mao nang mas taas ang risk sa mga naay mga heart disease, stroke kung permita mo kaon og kanang mga processed foods. So, step one is eliminating trans fat. So, eliminating trans fat means removing or avoiding trans fat from our daily life or daily diet. So, to improve our health. So, why should we avoid trans fat, DI? So, because it is one of the unhealthiest types of fat, June. It is raises the bad cholesterol and nagalow siya sa atong good cholesterol sa atong body, which can cause fat to build up in our blood vessels. So, how can we eliminate? So, unsaon na to pag-eliminate ang trans fat? So, simple. Limit or avoid eating fried and processed foods. Instead, mukaon ta og kanang mas healthy like vegetables nga mga importante like mas importante sad nga basahon na to ang nutrition label likod sa atong mga pamaliton nga mga foods o para pod malikayan ang paggamit sa mga hydrogenated oil. And also, need jud na to or mas importante nga basahon na to ang nutrition label sa likod para mas makabaluta kung hala kanang taas siya og kuan, taas siya og naa siya hydrogenated oil ang paninga product, na siya trans fat. So dili siya pwede nato ni kaunon kay murag nasubraan na to sa trans fat. Pero if napalit na ninyo ang product, kauno na lang nato guys. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Devi Ankibiako, and today I will be discussing about the step 2, fighting fats with fats. So, not all fats are harmful. There's a healthy fats found in natural foods provide energy, help absorb vitamins, and protect our organs. It also there is a trans fats are commonly found in fried foods, margarine, packaged snacks, and baked goods. Para ma-prevent natin ang mga sakit at mga risk, kumain tayo ng real foods or should I say, the healthy foods. Avoid foods containing trans fats. Healthy fats support the heart, brain, and overall body function. Ano ba ang mga healthy foods? So, these are the example of real foods. Dairy products like eggs, butter, milk, cheese, fish and shellfish, fruits, whole grains, legumes like beans, peas, peanut, meat and poultry, nuts and seed, healthy oils, vegetable and sea algae. These foods are naturally contain important nutrients, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and protein. Eating a variety of these foods help maintain a balanced and healthy diet. Next is step 3, cleanse, rejuvenate, and supplements. Just like changing dirty oil in a car's motor, has been sputtering along and should be flushed out. So dapat daw i-flush palabas ang lahat ng mga luma at maruming langis na nandun sa loob ng makina. Same to our body, it's important to clear out the toxin buildup so that our body system can start fresh. Only then can it make the most of the healthy new nourishment coming its way. Eating nutritious food, staying hydrated, exercising, and getting enough sleep help these organs work effectively. Some doctors recommended regular colon cleansings, periodic liver flushes, and revitalizing multivitamins as part of ongoing health regimen. Next is the detoxifying the liver. A liver cleanse is another step on the road to recovering from trans fats. Cleanses comprised of milk thistle are recommended by some doctors because they are proved to be effective in helping to alleviate the effects of an unhealthy diet and the burden it places on all the body system. The liver is one of the body's main detoxification organs. Keeping it healthy through good nutrition and healthy habits allows it to perform this essential function efficiently. Lastly, the dietary toxins in the body. Trans fats and highly processed food can contribute to poor health. Highly processed foods often contain preservatives, excess sugar, sodium, and unhealthy fats that the body must process. Environmental pollutants and food additives increase the body's workload. We're exposed to pollutants through air, water, and certain chemicals. While we cannot avoid all exposure, healthy habits can reduce their impact. The liver and immune system help process and eliminate many harmful substances. Every day, our body are exposed to substances from food and the environment. While we cannot avoid every exposure, reducing processed food and maintaining healthy habits can lessen the burden on our body natural defenses system. So the best way to improve health is by consistently choosing nutritious food and maintaining healthy habits. These choices help the body function properly and reduce the risk of many diseases. That's all. Thank you.